The left-wing gender insanity being pushed on our children is an act of child abuse. Very simple. Here's my plan to stop the chemical, physical, and emotional mutilation of our youth. On day one, I will revoke Joe Biden's cruel policies on so-called gender-affirming care. Ridiculous. A process that includes giving kids puberty blockers, mutating their physical appearance, and ultimately performing surgery on minor children.
Donald Trump's victory in the 2024 election against Kamala Harris wasn't just a political win. It was a referendum on woke culture. Trump's campaign struck a chord with Americans who felt left behind by an elite class more concerned with virtue signaling than solving real problems. In his victory speech, Trump declared, "The people have spoken and they've chosen common sense over chaos."
You believe this? I will sign a new executive order instructing every federal agency to cease all programs that promote the concept of sex and gender transition at any age. I will then ask Congress to permanently stop federal taxpayer dollars from being used to promote or pay for these procedures and pass a law prohibiting child sexual mutilation in all 50 states. It'll go very quickly. I will declare that any hospital or healthcare provider that participates in the chemical or physical mutilation of minor youth will no longer meet federal health and safety standards for Medicaid and Medicare and will be terminated from the program immediately. Furthermore, I will support the creation of a private right of action for victims.
This wasn't just a jab at Harris's policies but a critique of the broader woke agenda. For many voters, Trump represented a return to pragmatism, a leader willing to address uncomfortable truths rather than pander to ideological extremes. His victory is a reminder that while woke culture dominates certain institutions, it doesn't reflect the values of everyday Americans. Trump's 2024 campaign leaned heavily on defending free speech.
What would the first thing you'll do to fix our current school system and even our current military that's only focusing on teaching woke gender ideology over learning the basics of life and history and protecting us?
So, a good question. Some of it partially answered, but not all. With the military, we're ending woke immediately. You know, I ended woke, totally. And then in their first week, they reestablished it. It's crazy. They pay instructors hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. It literally, they want our military to be woke. And it's just not going to happen. You read in Hawaii where they had the horrible fire where they have people going there. And before they bring them on board, they have to study woke for a week. Can you believe this?
Cancel culture and political correctness became central issues, with Trump framing himself as the defender of open dialogue. His stance resonated with voters tired of the rules imposed by online outrage mobs.
You know what woke means? It means you're a loser. Everything woke. Everything woke. It's true. Everything woke turns to shit. Mother and father are screaming, "You got it. You got it, darling. I'm so proud of my girl." Well, she couldn't do it. And then this guy comes along. He's named Alice. And he looks at the weight. World record. We could have put another couple of 100 pounds on. I think he would have lifted him. It's so disrespectful to women. And they say it's politically incorrect. It's so disrespectful to women. There have been very few complaints the way it is. People go, they use the bathroom that they feel is appropriate.
So if Caitlyn Jenner were to walk into Trump Tower and want to use the bathroom, you would be fine with her using any bathroom she chooses?
That is correct.
Trump's win sent a message that the era of self-censorship could be over, with a president who believes the First Amendment is non-negotiable. By focusing on free speech, Trump aligned himself with a core American value, leveraging it to rally voters who felt silenced by a culture that prioritizes feelings over facts, a clear contrast to woke ideals. Immigration was a key issue in the election, with Trump doubling down on his commitment to border security, while Kamala Harris pushed for more inclusive immigration policies.
Children are taught in school to hate their own country and to believe that the men and women who built it were not heroes, but that were villains. That is why I am deploying federal law enforcement to protect our monuments, arrest the rioters, and prosecute offenders to the fullest extent of the law. They're tearing down statues, desecrating monuments, and purging dissenters. It's not the behavior of a peaceful political movement. It's the behavior of totalitarians and tyrants and people that don't love our country. They don't love our country. The Democrats are also trying to rig the election by sending out tens of millions of mail-in ballots, using the China virus as the excuse for allowing people not to go to the polls.
Have you watched any of the Olympics?
I thought that the opening ceremony was a disgrace, actually.
Trump framed them as reckless and detached from reality. He often said, "We can be compassionate without being foolish." His message resonated with voters concerned about national security and economic stability, painting Harris's approach as emblematic of woke culture's preference for optics over outcomes.
Joe Biden and the Democrats are even pushing policies that would destroy women's sports. A lot of new records are being broken in women's sports. Hate to say that, ladies, but got a lot of new records. They're being shattered. You know, for years, the weightlifting, every ounce is like a big deal for many years. All of a sudden, somebody comes along and beats it by 100 pounds. Boom, boom. Now, young girls and women are incensed that they are now being forced to compete against those who are biological males.
Trump's victory on this front highlighted a shift in public opinion, as voters opted for policies grounded in enforcement and accountability rather than ideological purity. His stance reinforced the idea that America's strength lies in balancing its values with its need for order.
Well, first of all, I wasn't given $400 million. I wish I was. My father was a Brooklyn builder, Brooklyn, Queens, and a great father, and I learned a lot from him, but I was given a fraction of that, a tiny fraction, and I've built it into many, many billions of dollars, many, many billions. And when people see it, they are even surprised. So we don't have to talk about that. Fracking, she's been against it for 12 years. Defund the police, she's been against that forever. She gave all that stuff up very wrongly, very horribly, and everybody's laughing at it, okay? They're all laughing at it. She gave up at least 12 and probably 14 or 15 different policies. Like, she was big on defund the police. In Minnesota, she went out, wait a minute, I'm talking
Throughout
now.
the campaign, Trump frequently criticized Hollywood and the media for their alignment with woke culture. He called out celebrities and journalists for being out of touch with the struggles of ordinary Americans. Trump's victory highlighted the disconnect between media narratives and the realities of working-class voters.
She did things that nobody would ever think of. Now she wants to do transgender operations on illegal aliens that are in prison. This is a radical left liberal that would do this. She wants to confiscate your guns, and she will never allow fracking in Pennsylvania. If she won the election, fracking in Pennsylvania will end on day one.
By refusing to back down in the face of criticism, Trump exposed what many saw as the hypocrisy of an industry quick to condemn others while turning a blind eye to its own flaws. His re-election was a rejection of the cultural elite, proving that Americans value authenticity over performative activism, storing balance in America's institutions.
Stay safe from the woke virus and stand your ground. If you want to see more beatdowns of a failed ideology, check out this next video. Please subscribe so we can promote free speech and restore normal order to our planet. Cue the outro song.
We are the anti-woke police, here to save the world. You see.